Well, music phenom Taylor Swift just wrapped up 6 shows in Singapore this past weekend, the longest series of concerts during her tour in Asia that included stops in Tokyo and Australia. But Singapore was her only stop in Southeast Asia, something that stirred up a bit of controversy. Junwei Sum tells us more.
14-time Grammy winner Taylor Swift has a massive following in Asia. Millions of her fans across the region, from China to the Philippines to Indonesia, scrambled to get hold of at least one of 300,000 concert tickets for her 6 nights in Singapore in early March. It was her only stop in Southeast Asia for her Eras tour, which became something of a sore point for Singapore's neighbours. Thailand's Prime Minister was the first to call attention to a deal made by the Singapore government to subsidise Swift's concerts if she didn't perform anywhere else in Southeast Asia. He said he heard from the show's promoter that Swift was being paid up to $3 million a concert, a number which Singapore downplayed. A Filipino lawmaker also weighed in, saying that it isn't what good neighbours do, prompting a response from Singapore's leader.
There was a certain incentives provided to her from our Tourism Development Fund. It really is a post-COVID fund to revive tourism after COVID. And a deal was reached. And so it has turned out to be a very successful arrangement. I don't see that as being unfriendly.
And successful it was. Swift's tour dates in Singapore brought in tens of thousands of fans from across the region, all staying in hotels, eating in restaurants, and spending on much more than a concert ticket.
Aside from it's my first time here in Singapore, I just really very excited for everything. It took a lot of my money, about 30,000 yuan, and the ticket take me 2,000 yuan. Yeah, but I'm willing to do it.
Singapore's Changi Airport reports that arrivals between March the 1st and 7th jumped by more than 20% compared to the same period last year. Economists say it could add as much as $370 million extra to the island's economy. By the way, Bangkok later clarified that it never meant to criticize Singapore, but instead to, quote, admire and compliment the city-state. Junwei Sum, CGTN.
Joining us now to help provide some insight about how big events are moving local economies is Santosh Rao. He's partner and head of research at Manhattan Venture Partners. Thanks so much, Santosh, for joining us. First, I have to see if there's any bias. Are you a Swiftie fan, or are you, non-biased in this situation?
No, I like her, and my daughter loves her, so I think by default I like her too. I mean, through her I found out, so I think she's definitely a phenomena and worth every adulation that she gets.
Absolutely. Okay, so jokes aside, touring has become so popular now, and they're real money makers. So how do musicians and pop stars typically decide where to tour? What factors influence those decisions?
Yeah, I think a lot of things go into deciding where to go. There's a lot of branding that goes on. There's the ecosystem around the stadiums or the concert halls. You need a good reception. You need a big crowd. You need the whole support system to make that thing work. You need the local artists as well in many cases. So I think there are a lot of cases. And also, we know there are some places that are absolute winners. Let's say Las Vegas, UK, and a few other places. Singapore now, we just saw that, and all over. So she is very popular, but the branding that's done by her team is very well done. The team around her is very good. So they choose good sites. They go at the right time. They just back it up. Once the songs are there, she's had back-to-back hits, which has really helped the concerts as well. So that's the key. That's the mantra they're following, have produced back-to-back hits after a long hiatus, so to speak. So I think there is a craving, there's a need, and also we had that COVID phenomenon where everyone was locked up. Suddenly everyone's coming out, they're enjoying her and enjoying the music. And her music itself is another phenomenon. very aspirational, very feel-good music. So I think all those things are playing into that. So she goes wherever she thinks there is a good market for it, and her team does a good job scouting it.
You know, Santosh, when I was growing up in Hong Kong, I was always disappointed because there were so few big name acts that came to visit. And, you know, it wasn't a time when, you know, my parents said, okay, you can go travel, you know, across the world halfway around to see this group. But now you see a lot more people willing to travel just to enjoy these sort of experiences. What examples are there of cities or countries outside of the US competing to host these big concerts and events? And how big is the Asian market? Japan has always been a stop, right, where US performers include, and Australia as well, but not a lot of other Asian cities.
Yeah, I think it'll spread more and more. Now we have so much connectivity, internet, TikTok, and so many other ways where you can relate to artists. So they're used to seeing them on the screen. They would love to go and meet them as well. So I think more and more the local economies, local governments are realizing the value of building out concert halls and stadiums, so to speak, because it really boosts the local economy, in some cases by billions of dollars. So I think there is value added. I think more and more is being realized now, more and more has been communicated as well. So I think you will see it spread out more and more. It's going to get wider and wider. But essentially at this point, you have some big centers, like I said, the UK, Singapore, Japan, and all that. But it's spreading to other cities as well, the smaller cities as well. And she commands a huge audience. So you need big stadiums, big halls. So it's not going to happen overnight, but you will see that as the word spreads, that it's net additive to the local economies. I think people will start developing them, building it, and attracting more and more big artists as we go forward.
And it's a real money-making machine. You touched on this earlier, saying the teams are so adept at figuring out how to, you know, market, where to do the merchandising, and then, you know, some of these concerts then go on to become a show that you can watch on Disney or Netflix, so it can be further monetized. But besides the economic bump, what other benefits are there of a country or city hosting a headline act?
Well, I think it has a lot of other benefits as well. Even in schools, it has a positive effect on the kids as well. There is a good, clean entertainment out there as opposed to other distractions. And then as you see with Olympics, there's a whole tourism develops around this thing, and it becomes, some people go there for the first time. They enjoy it more and more. People come out of the villages and the outskirts come into the city. So there's so many ways to attract. Just as we see in Olympics, as we see in any big events, it has a very attractive feature when we have this big magnetic tournament events. So, you can name so many things, but the biggest boost is to the tourism industry, to the local film industry, to the local artists. It gives you more hero worships. It's good for the kids. It's good. It has a net positive. On the other hand, it can have bad effects also if you have some bad singers and the rock music and the drug culture and all that. You don't want that. But you want clean artists like Beyonce and Swift. They add so much to the whole economy, to the country at stake. So I think that's the biggest benefit I see in terms of money coming in, net additive, like I said, and it puts them on the map. It puts them on the global map, and then people start going in. So it attracts more than music lovers, other people as well. When you start seeing these beautiful sights and sounds, it attracts other people as well. So it's a magnetic event, and these things are proving out to be really good. Doesn't happen all the time. We've always had big artists, Michael Jacksons and all that.
Yeah.
They've always attracted big things. But here it seems like a new phenomena in terms of the magnitude of money that's made, the size of the economy, and the effect on the local economies. I think that I think is a new phenomena, and that has more to do with the connectivity that we have. So people are in touch with the artists wherever they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that, you know, not just music events, as you said, sporting events too. We saw what happened at the World Cup. Everyone now wants to go and visit Doha. We'll have to leave it there. Santosh Rao, very informative discussion. Thank you so much.